Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for the Making Progress channel. Today is video number 111 of our Hopefully Forever series. And today's topic is about savoring your wins, which, Scott, I don't think a lot of people talk about.
I'm very bad at.
Very bad
We're
at
the worst at that.
The worst. We're terrible at it. We know we're terrible and we know how to fix it for you. First, what does it mean to savor your wins? It can be a few things. Let me give you some examples. Something goes well because you had an involvement that made it go well. You worked really hard on a project for school or for work. You were meticulous about making sure it got done right and you double-checked your work. This is a class in which many people struggle or a work project with which most people do not see success. And you got an A- or an A or an A+. Or your boss called you in and said, Johnson, you did great on that Carlson account. Scott, that's how corporate works, right?
Yeah, circle back around to that, see?
Yeah, see? Throwing Jell-O at the wall and see what sticks. Oh, no, sorry, it's nailing Jell-O to a tree.
Oh, really?
Throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you got that success and you had to try for it and you weren't sure it was going to be successful. That's a win. There are many ways to act afterwards. Let me give you 3 major ones. Basically, most ways in which people react to wins are encapsulated in variations or really fall into one of these 3 major categories. Category 1, which we are not trying to encourage today, is to write off your win as purposefully not so impressive. You're degrading yourself. There are many ways to do this. Some of them include saying, whatever, people do cool stuff all the time and I ain't shit. Another one is to diffuse responsibility. Say, I worked on the project, but other people definitely had a role. And so this is don't pin it on me. This isn't stuff you tell other people. You could, but this is stuff you tell yourself in your own head. You can even go so far as to miscaricature the win as not a win. Scott, this is something that happens in sports a lot. I wonder if it's happened in your life or with friends you know, where the win is actually assumed to have been supposed to happen anyway. And so you just chalk it up as we weren't supposed to lose to that team. And so the win becomes duh. If it was anything else, it would have been a loss.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's the story of my life.
The great loss, the Scott Hoon story. So that's definitely especially toxic. And I'll give you a preview why now. It degrades your self-efficacy until you just think you're capable of less. And thinking you're capable of less actually makes you capable of less. It's making you worse. And that's the kind of negative framing of actively refusing to acknowledge and savor your wins. That's option number 1. Many people do this. Option number 2 is the middle path. It's the neutrality. Okay, that was cool. And you never pat yourself on the back. You never ever really savor your win. You're not degrading yourself. You're not saying you sucked, but it's kind of just par for the course. Many people treat their workouts like this in the fitness community when they're pretty elite. You don't pat yourself on the back for a back workout or a leg workout. You're just yep, just got done. Cool. I'm not proud of it. I'm not it had to happen and it's just a checkbox and it wasn't even that good. So, but you're not really savoring anything because you're there's nothing here to savor. I do this all the time. Scott degrades himself. Wins mean functionally nothing to me, no matter how big they are. And that's where Scott and I live.
Yep.
But we try to do better. The third category is what I'm trying to get you guys to do a bit more, and maybe Scott and I will like taste our own medicine or some shit like that. And that is savoring your wins. And that does not mean you go to Las Vegas and throw a party and 7 strippers somehow die during that party, but everyone has fun. After you submit like one work project that the boss is like, all right, this is okay. You're like, woo, party. That's not it. That's way extreme and way on the other end. Savoring wins can be as simple as the following examples. It can be a brief, private, well done to yourself, and a 10-second mental replay of what went right. You caught the winning pass at the game. Look, it was just one touchdown. It won the game. It sealed the deal. But like other running backs and wide receivers scored the other 4 or 5 touchdowns. Afterwards in the locker room, people pat you on the back, blah, blah, blah. However that affects you is a bit of a different conversation. But when you're taking your post-game dump, I don't know if I phrased that poorly, you're showering or something, you close your eyes, touch yourself a little, as is expected. This is a public locker room. Everyone's seeing it. No problem. All jokes aside, close your eyes and you tell yourself like, yeah, man, well done, dude. Well done. Great catch. And you do a 10-second replay in your head of what went right. Snap. I ran my route. I made a calculated decision to zig instead of zag. Turned at the right time. Juked. Accepted the pass. Boom, I'm in the end zone. My training paid off. I did what I was supposed to. I did a damn good thing. I didn't save the world, but I did a damn good thing. It can be as simple as that. That's it, guys. That's it. Right there is an example of savoring wins. It's not, you're not ticker tape parade for yourself. Another, and this can be a few things at the same time or just one or the other of these, is kind of letting your body feel it. Slow exhale. Open up your chest. Allow yourself a tiny smile. Anchor that state for recall later because it teaches your nervous system, I did a good thing. I feel relaxed and free and accomplished. That's important because it teaches your brain, do hard things, get psychological reward, which means your ability to do hard things later improves. Your desire to put yourself in the line of fire to do hard things improves because your brain thinks, hey, hard things, I get cool rewards after those. I'm going to do it for sure. Another thing you can do is name and identify the link to your identity. So you take the win and you literally just slot it into your identity. How? You get that, whatever, you get a really good grade on a test because you studied hard. Take a little, just 5 seconds to yourself and say something in your own head. Actually, it works a little better from the research I've seen of saying it out loud. Scott, you're in class saying it out loud to yourself in the test. Like, everyone else failed. You're like, I'm the man. People are like, that was actually me in high school, no joke. Scott, have you ever heard the Jared Feather econ class story?
Maybe.
Jared Feather, IFB Pro, at some point decided he was going to get his RD nutrition cert. It ended up, he had a big competitive career instead, and no love lost. He can just kind of go do that whenever he wants. And so he was like living in like a metro area anyway, I think San Antonio at the time. And so he went to like major D1 university to like, cause he had already had a master's degree in exercise science, right? And so he was like, oh, I'm just going to like do some more school so that I can get enough credits built up so that like I get accepted into an RD program because they need a few more distribution credits. And one of the things he had to do was do an economics class. Just Econ 101, undergrads, and then Jared Feather. So first of all, he's sitting in lectures. Scott, can you imagine like everyone's a bebopper undergrad and then there's Jared Feather, IFB Pro. They're like, what?
Eating from a Tupperware.
Yeah, 100%. And they're like, what the hell is that? And so what he would do is he would set the curve on pretty much every single test because he like actually studies and gives a shit and is really smart. And in the discussion forum, there was like the cool kids were like complaining. They're like, who the hell keeps like getting way higher scores than ever? Because the way the teacher did it, and this is often the case, is they will curve off the highest score. So if everyone, and this is legit how some college classes work, they're like weeder classes. They figure if you really want to be there or not, you really have what it takes or not. So if the highest score is 60%, 60% becomes an A+, it's a functionally 100. And if everyone else gets like 50s and 40s, they now get B's and C's and they pass. If the highest score is 97%, then everyone who got 50s or 40s and 50s straight fails like that test. And so Jared would get A+ because that really kind of the only thing he does at school. When I was his professor, that's all he did at school. And so Jared would curve all these tests way higher than everybody. And the cool kids in the forum were like, man, who the hell keeps like curving these tests super high? Scott, this will be the easiest prediction for you to make ever. Jared replied as himself and goes, I did.
Yes, I have heard the story. Yes, I have.
And I don't know if they know what he looked like, but I've been like, all right, we're not going to bully that guy into not trying. So, be like Jared Feather, but maybe a little easier on the PR. But just even in your own, or at home out loud, or, in your own head, say something like, this is like me. This is me. This is what I do. I do hard things. You bank that into your identity. Because too many cheap, easy compliments make you soft as fuck. But compliments when it matters, especially when you are doing it to yourself and you recognize it, are the thing that gives you fuel to continue to succeed. If you have the impetus to walk with a spring in your step for the next hour, do not suppress it. It's okay to be happy about good things. I remember I had my shining moment in life when I won my local school's geography B in the 8th grade. And I wore my medal to my next class. And one of my bullies said, like, take that stupid thing off. And I did. Later, I confronted him in an unrelated, another bullying incident. But don't take that medal off on your own behalf. Do it for safety when bullies say take it off so you don't get your head dunked in the toilet again. I'm kidding, but sure as shit, don't do it on your behalf. Because a lot of us think like, oh, like I did a great thing and I'm really happy, but I don't want to show off that I'm happy because it'll make other people jealous or make them feel bad, or I shouldn't gloat. Fuck that. Gloat. Don't go overboard. To yourself, inside your head, gloat a little bit. It's good for you in every conceivable way. It makes you psychologically healthier. It improves your general motivation. It reinforces the idea that you can do hard things, and it makes a link between you did the hard thing and you got the reward, which makes you want the challenge more later. It's a big deal. If you do journaling, Scott, do you ever journal?
Hell no.
Let me ask another question. Scott, are you literate?
Hell no.
You're like, pause. What does literate mean? Can read and write. No. Okay. I don't journal. I don't know how to read letters or very strange shapes. I'm not into that whole nonsense. I'm not decoding language. That's for AI to do. If you do journal, put a little win log in there. What happened, why it mattered, and what you're going to repeat about it. I trained hard. I made a good executive decision. I put in the work. I didn't overstudy. I didn't understudy. This was good. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, Mike, this sounds a lot like you started drinking out of the gallon jug of positive psychology and you got drunk on the shit. Isn't there too much toxic positivity in culture today? The answer generally is no, but in some areas with some specifics, absolutely there is. So there are distinct downsides if you are savoring teeny tiny wins in a grandiose fashion. What's the downside of that? The example is like, again, like your boss said, hey, that not too bad on that Keller report. And you're like, fellas, Dubai, 24 hours, let's go. And they're like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you, right? Like, chill, it's just one project. We do one a week. Or you get like a B+ on a test, and in class, you're like, whoa, boom, turn to the girl next to you, rock her in the jaw a little bit. She'll straighten up, you feel me? Hey, she can do better on the test, and now she knows not to sell herself short, right? Going crazy and really gloating and really being like, whoa, I did the thing. How do I put this best? Participation trophy culture You guys know what I'm saying. Everyone did great. And some people didn't do so great. What's wrong with that? A few things. There is a mismatch in reward, and that trains your brain to chase easy tasks for big feelings. It's cheap dopamine. And cheap dopamine by itself isn't a terrible thing. But the problem there is easy tasks. If you know easy tasks get you a big upside, you just do easy tasks a lot. Imagine if, you had like a control board, right, at work, and or AI and robots do all the work. And there's like a button there that says, generate $10 million worth of value, and you keep $1 million to yourself. And you're like, seriously? Like, yes, this is your job. It's 2037. You're like, click, hey, $1 million. And you made $9 million for the world. Click, wow, $1 million. Cool. You're the man. You just saved humanity. Click. After a certain while, you're like, I'm just clicking one button. And your deep agency, which thrives on big rewards for difficult things, starts to die out. That mismatch is absolutely no good. Because one of two things will happen. You'll either continue to chase cheap rewards, and generally in life, very low effort things do not result in good things. So you're training your brain for an illusion. Or two, you'll just quit doing the thing or do it way less because you're like, this is not reality. Scott, can you imagine you enter a 5K race, you come in like 5th from last, and reporters run up to you and like do a whole like 2-hour documentary on how you trained for this race and how you're awesome. And you go on a whistle stop tour, like shaking hands with all the best endurance runners. You're like, I'm in the Matrix, aren't I? This isn't right. I don't want any of that sort of thing. It can also inflate your self-assessment, which can lead to complacency. Tomorrow's hard work gets softer because you pat yourself on the back so much you don't even need hard work for the hard pat. You get the hard pat no matter what. You did basically nothing and you got a reward. Another problem with it is that it can blur the signal-to-noise ratio, which means that what you want to do is maximally reward mentally in your own head the breakthrough performances, the breakthrough efforts. You stayed up half the fucking night to make this shit happen. You came through when everyone failed. And now the reward you get is the same as you did when you dropped your 8-year-old off at kindergarten or whatever. That's an age mismatch. 2nd grade. And your wife's like, you did the greatest thing today. You dropped Connor off at school. You're like, it's a 5-minute ride. Are there IEDs in the road? I'm just not understanding it. But if you get that huge pat on the back for everything, then how are you supposed to develop that desire to do really hard things? The way you develop that is they come with humongous benefits, humongous rewards. So if you reward yourself for everything starts to seem kind of the same. You can fix that. You can make mega rewards in your own head and really pat yourself and gloat way too much for easy shit. And then the way to fix that, quote unquote, in the wrong way is what is called reward escalation or celebration escalation. And that means when you do actually hard things, you're supposed to like really savor, which means you just spend a lot of time and effort on savoring and it devalues the savoring or becomes intractably expensive or very, very time constrained. Later on, when you come to realize you've been patting yourself on the back for mediocre BS, you can get a lot of cognitive dissonance. You're like, that's not really me. And it's cringy. You don't want to be cringy to yourself. And next time someone else praises you or you praise yourself, you may be inclined to discount it because you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. Because in the past, you gave yourself so much slack for stupid BS that you're like, don't even believe that compliments mean anything because in your experience, they don't. On the other hand, there is the other problem. Yes, some people pat themselves on the back too damn much for almost everything. And it leads to all these problems. But some other folks, especially male culture, at its extremes. Because, the too much complimenting for almost nothing is like, no offense, all love and respect, white Karen kindergarten teacher energy. Scott, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you did the best thing in the world. You're a hero. But on the other end is also white male drill sergeant, football coach, alcoholic dad who works at the factory energy. And that reinforces a fear of savoring. And this happens in toxic male culture for a few reasons, or there's a few examples of it. One is this like monk mode grind set. Scott, have you ever been around anyone who used the term grind set seriously?
No, only on the internet.
Did you know those people exist?
Oh, yeah, sure. They do online. So.
Baffling. And so those folks moralize deprivation, which isn't terrible, but if it comes at no balance of moralizing actual accomplishment and praise, then there's a problem there. Joy and celebration gets interpreted as weakness, and stoicism and being totally unaffected. So remember, deprivation is the negative one. Stoicism is the neutral one. That gets interpreted as virtue, and deprivation is linked to, joy gets linked to weakness. So basically celebrating makes you a pussy. Stoicism makes you dope, and shit-talking yourself makes you really dope because you're a monk grind person. That's not setting up an enjoyment of life that will continue to make you want to accomplish things at all. As a matter of fact, it's doing the opposite. A little bit of that comes from some kinds of sport codes. There's a term in coaching called act like you've been there. Visible pride, boisterous celebration is framed as amateurish or immature, and there's truth to that. But if you really inculcate that view to the absolute depths, it just doesn't go very far. There's, oh God, Scott, what's that white dude who plays basketball really well? He's like Serbian. He wins a bunch of stuff all the time.
Ooh, I don't know basketball very good.
Good God. Oh, this is going to kill me. I got to look this up. Because 100%, if I don't tell you the name, Jokic. Jokic is a great example. I don't know what happens in his head. I think he's got his head pretty screwed on straight. But if you really overindulge into his personality and do this yourself, you might run afoul of this. Scott, he won the NBA championship and he led the whole team. Like, he's the MVP, right? And they asked him in the press conference after, they're like, hey, are you excited for the parade? And he's like, he literally turns. He's like, when's the parade? And they tell him the date. He's like, oh, shit. I think I'm doing something with my family. God damn it. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going. And like, he's on the team. He has to go. And to him, it was just like, oh, God damn it. Like, I have to do this other thing. That's hilarious. But if you take that too far, you might basically be like, any kind of me recognizing that I'm awesome is bad. And so, yeah, it's not like celebrating with like hip humping when you dunk once at a game, but there's a balance there in the middle that's much better. There's another one. This one is really big. Superstition. People think that if you pat yourself on the back for a win, it jinxes the process. You might look arrogant, but worse still, you might alter the structure of causality such that because you allowed yourself to feel good about a win, God's like, and he makes you lose next time to teach you some kind of lesson. Guys, I have really good news for you. Jinxing something is not an extant concept. It does not exist in the real world. Neither does bad luck. Neither does good luck. None of that shit is real. Straight up. It's just all 100% nonsense. Whether you celebrate with like fireworks or whether you tell yourself you suck and you still need to keep working has absolutely no mechanistic external effect on your probability of victory next time. It does have an effect on your mind, which can have an effect on everything else. But there's no like grand universal arbiter that's like, this guy's too cocky. Scott, you want the ultimate proof of that? Kanye West is successful.
Yeah.
So is Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Come on now. There's a meme culture there that reinforces this. Hustle memes reward hunger signals over health signals, basically. Like, you got to keep grinding and stay hungry, which is cool. But you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers got to eat out here every now and again. You got to feed the soul a little bit, maybe a lot of it when you do really, really well. And a lot of men, when they were boys, during their upbringing, were severely praise deprived. I was raised by my dad, Jared Feather, IFBB pro, who worked at the factory as an alcoholic, came home, beat my ass, made me do all the sports I hated. And he never said not a single compliment ever have I heard in my life from my father, Jared Feather, IFBB pro. All jokes aside, a lot of people grow up like that. And self-praise can feel improper. You don't feel masculine. You don't say, I wasn't taught to do this. And it can feel legitimately guilt-inducing. I've never talked to Scott about this ever out loud, but I bet you I'm right about this. Scott, do you feel guilty when you praise yourself too much?
I mean, I just don't do it, so I wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know. I'm like, try it. You're like, no. Yeah, I have tried it, and I absolutely feel 100% guilty. You guys, real talk, all this like fame and money bullshit that I've come into lately, I feel guilty about it all the time. Why me? I'm just some regular idiot. And it follows me everywhere I go. Not proud of it. It's a real thing. It's a real thing, this culture. 100%. And this culture is good because it acts to restrain the extremes of like leftist white kindergarten teacher lady who wants to congratulate you for taking your next breath or your next step, even though you're a normal functioning human being. But at the extremes, imbibing it way too much starves your soul. Savoring has major advantages. Internal savoring with yourself has major advantages. Here are some of them. It encodes competence and leads to self-efficacy. It encodes this idea slowly at first and then stacking and stacking and stacking to make this idea more clear in your mind that I can do hard things again. That becomes the default. You go from someone who is unsure of themselves, not to someone who is cocky, but to someone who goes, I'll take a shot at the title. I think I have a good chance at being victorious. I have many things in my life of which I have absolutely no self-efficacy. I have a few things in my life of which I have very good self-efficacy. If you're like, hey, Mike, the car's broken. What do you want to do about it? I'm like, I have absolutely no idea how a car works. And they're like, why don't you read a manual and just talk to ChatGPT and just fix it? I'll be like, I'm legit scared of that. I'm like, I'll screw something up. There's no way. If you're like, hey, Mike, here's a topic, you get 10 minutes to read about it ahead of time, and now you have to discuss it with a ranking expert in the world on a podcast. Can you do it? Yeah, 100%. Send me in. No problem. I might clown myself, but honestly, I don't give a fuck, and I'll probably do just fine. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert, but I can sure ask some incisive questions. No problem. That self-efficacy is a dope thing, because if you want to be good at stuff, you got to be pretty goddamn confident. If you ask Michael Jordan before all of his games, hey, how do you think this game is going to go? He's not lying to you when he says it's going to be dominant. He believes that. That unleashes his full potential to do the thing. If you really think you can do the thing, your probability of doing the thing is much, much higher. Here's another big one. Savoring your wins reduces fatigue and preserves your drive. Guys, if you never savor your wins, you're putting in all this work. And your brain is like, are we getting anything for this or not? You're like, shut up, brain. I'm being a stoic. I'm on my grind. Brain's like, all right, keep going. Months later, years later, your brain's like a frazzled mess. Like, hey, man, can I get a cigarette? And you're like, no, shut up. We still have work to do. If you reward your brain, if you reward your mind with adequate savoring, it chills you the fuck out. It gives you that deep, warm, this is weird, and Scott, I was going to say deep, warm pat on the back. Does that remind you of Pastor O'Houlihan?
Hey. It wasn't a pat, and it wasn't on the back.
Like, it was, however, absolutely Pastor O'Houlihan. But he said he was my friend.
And it was deep and warm.
Deep and warm. He said a very weird combination of "I'm your friend" and "Don't you ever fucking tell anybody about this."
Yeah, if you do, I'll drown your puppy. Effed up.
Scott, how much longer are we going to be on the air?
I don't know. We're fucking circling the drain here, folks.
Exactly like your puppy will if you ever say anything about this. You were great. Get out of here, kid. All right. Small rewards fuel adherence. You do a hard thing, your brain goes, hell yeah. You do a hard thing, your brain goes, hell yeah. Next time the hard thing comes up, you're low on fatigue because if you savor the wins, it literally drops psychological fatigue. That shit. You guys ever wonder how like football players or basketball players feel after winning the big game? They're just in the locker room, like in one of those chairs, like they did it. If you have a player who's sitting at the end of the game and he's like, next season begins right now, all the other players are going to be like, dude, are you out of your mind? That woo-saw feeling is humongous because it drops the fatigue. It reinforces that you can do hard things. It's good in every single conceivable way. In general, for your life, this is a huge, big meta point, so to speak. It lifts your baseline mood, which means that looking back on years of living, you can go, man, this has been great, and I want to keep doing this. Monk mode and grindset mode have their place, but do you guys think you really want to look back at age 85 on your deathbed and be like, yeah, I had a pretty bad time. I accomplished a lot, but I actually never allowed myself to feel good about it. So check this out, pimp. When are you going to feel good about it? You got 30 seconds left to live. They're going to pull the tubes out. Now? You're going to get the area under the curve of feeling good about 85 years of accomplishment in 30 seconds at the end of your life? What are you waiting for? That's nuts. And most people don't make it that far because you do something hard for weeks, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, months, and years, depending on how hard it is. And if you don't get that mood baseline to go up and able to retrospect back and go, man, this good stuff is happening, you'll just quit. Most people quit doing hard things, some of them for this reason. It also broadens your attention span when you have a better mood, and it improves your creativity for the next challenge. If you think you're competent and you sit down to do the next homework project or the next work project or the next, training for a sport or whatever it is you're doing in your life, you kind of get the swag of like, ooh, let's see what we can cook up here. Instead of being all scared of like, oh, I don't know. Because that I don't know scared bullshit does not fly. It doesn't make you creative. You got to be in that flow state. Nothing gets you in the flow state like a lot of time spent in a very positive mood because you know you're a fucking winner. It buffers stress like crazy and makes a massive reframe. It turns threat into challenge. That's a big deal. Because if you're going to do a hard thing and you see it as a threat, you a lot of times kind of cave in. You retract your tentacles. You seek safety. The correct approach to be good at stuff is to draw your Viking broadsword because you want death and destruction to come in your wake. You accept the challenge. Big dragon pops out. And if you haven't been savoring wins, you're like, oh, it's a dragon. Hey, Scott, why do I demean my own people so much?
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. On the other hand, if you've been, good to yourself and savoring your wins, big dragon pops up and you're just lusting at how much delicious blood is going to pop out of the stupid dragon's goddamn throat as you just lob a dumbass head off his body. You can't wait to do that shit. That's the attitude that makes victory over and over and over much more likely than, ugh. And another huge one we've mentioned already, but this absolutely bears repeating. It builds a stable identity for you over time. Not once, not twice, not 10 times, but hundreds of times. Savoring your wins just a little bit, or if they're big, a lot of it, builds the identity of consistent wins. I keep promises to myself, and I do the hard things, and I move the fucking world 1 inch at a time. If that's your identity, whatever challenge you get, whatever difficulty you get, you're going to step up and do your damn best. That's a big deal. That's how winners operate. You guys want a winner mentality? Winners celebrate. They don't celebrate unless it's a big deal, but they celebrate because it keeps them going. A few practical recommendations here. Small win. Take 30 to 60 second situation. Literally just, it can be several seconds. It could be up to a minute long. Breathe, replay what happened, label the situation, label the thing, make the connection. I did a hard workout. I had a fucking clean finish. You finish that last rep, not grinding it and barely getting through, but like, woof, yes, rack, hell yeah. Log it. I did the thing. I did a good thing today. Can be as easy as that. Medium wins, big project, big school thing. You give yourself a short debrief. You can. These are all options. You don't need to do any of these. What worked? What do you want to repeat? What do you want to take out there? Like, yeah, this is a good thing that I did. I'm going to try this again. What's the next step? Chill, relax, hit it hard again. If you have friends, partners that are dope and they're good on vibes, send them a text and be like, hey man, I did a cool thing today. I just wanted to share it with you. And if they're your real friends, so you'd be like, dude, you are the man. Or for the 7.5 females that follow this channel, you are the woman. No one ever says that. Big wins. Hey, that's a proper celebration, even if it's just to yourself. That can last hours. That can be more ritualized. Basically make a savor block for yourself. Take a nice relaxing walk. Get into the sauna. Have a great meal. Maybe archive some artifacts. Take a photo that you'll remember as like, dude, after I finished this whole mesocycle of training or this whole massive project at work, or I got the job that I wanted. Take a photo of the situation and archive it. So later you can look back and be like, hell yeah, champion shit. Screenshot. And if you do the journaling thing, 5 bullet point recap of what you did right, what worked, what you're going to take from it, how it made you feel, and what's the next step. If you're really guilty about going overboard, no problem. You can ease in with some guardrails. You can time box the savor. Tonight I celebrate. Tomorrow we ease it back into work. Right? Don't just take a one-way ticket to Vegas and, the party continues on. Scott, I suspect a lot of athletes and entertainers do that like one-way ticket to Vegas shit after like a big thing, huh?
Oh, yeah. Get a nice suite, live in there for like a month or whatever.
Your agent has to peel you up off the ground, put you back together and kick you into the studio again. You know what's interesting, Scott, is like, is it true? You know way more about that because you're in the music business. Like for a lot of entertainers, is it true to say that after every concert, there's like the biggest party in the world that lasts for an as yet indeterminate amount of time?
Well, I mean, it starts before because you gotta like have a couple drinks to take the edge off if you're nervous or like your neck pain, you know what I mean, from headbanging the night before. And you drink a little while you're on stage because that's fun. And then, after drinks and then girls and then, yeah. So it's just a whole party night. And you start over the next day.
Scott, remember you said like when you're like a rock star and you get with enough girls, it's just not cutting it anymore. And you're just like girls, guys, animals.
Yeah, that was the Tommy Lee thing. He just said he went through it all, I
want to see everything pleasure has to offer.
Yeah.
So definitely time box, no problem. Here's one. Don't do comparisons. That is toxic as fuck. Don't ever say you're better than someone or you did it better than XYZ. Your win is your win and your win alone. Period. Comparisons are for other people to do once you've done the thing. Don't do it in your own head. I promise you it doesn't work out well. Here's one. For most cases, don't pick a reward that taxes tomorrow. In a big reward, you got to go back to work tomorrow, but you have a headache because you're, have been, frankly, having sex with animals because you ran through all the people already. It's okay to, get a little drunk, get a little high and stuff on the weekends, but, nothing too crazy. No one-way tickets to Vegas in most cases. And you should have a plan for what you're doing after, right? Don't just be like, hey, we won. Hey, fellas, like a lot of coaches do this really well. Friday night to win the big game. You guys did amazing. Get out of here, have some fun. Don't kill anybody. Don't die. Sunday afternoon, we got a light run through. We'll see you then. Rest of Friday, all of Saturday, rock on. And remember, your body's what you play sports with. Don't destroy it in the process. Easy. Some examples of self-talk strategies you can do, especially for the minor ones. That was earned. I earned that. This is proof. I do what I say. I stacked another brick. I love that one. Building, stacking bricks. And my next brick is going to be boom. So you take credit for what you did and you plan the next thing. Let's talk about long-term benefits and why never cutting yourself slack is bad advice, though it feels good for some folks. Savoring is the fuel that sustains your adherence for years. Discipline plus reward beats the brittle grind set state every single day of the week. You need both. Over time, as we've mentioned already, it converts effort into identity. Your confidence starts to compound. Your fear of hard tasks drops. You're not supposed to have a fear of hard tasks. You're supposed to have a respect for hard tasks. Those are different things. You respect the fact that shit's not going to be easy, but you have confidence to know that you're going to get it done. That's a big deal. It is not something that someone can give you a pep talk and just make you believe. That is many, 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 many trials and tribulations paired with savoring the internal victories. It lowers burnout risk like crazy. You're not running an austerity program on your nervous system. Some people get so into the grind mode, they're like, I just have to make my life hard. And then what? I don't know. I didn't have a plan for that. It's got to be a balance of doing hard things and then savoring the wins. For the record, I absolutely suck at this. So does Scott. But at least we know we suck at it, and we can maybe try our own little best ways to improve the situation. Scott, do you know what's funny? In my head, as soon as I said that, I felt guilt for even considering doing that.
That's great.
Being Jewish. Here's a humongous one that even the grind set people have to admit. Savoring your wins over time and building confidence and resiliency makes setbacks survivable. You've banked so much evidence so far that you're the fucking man and you're going to get it done that you can come back from difficult losses. Last season, you won 1 billion games, and then you lost a few really important games. And after those important losses, the team is devastated. But you know deep down, you guys were winners up in this motherfucker. We can do it again. If you never savor your wins, and if you ignore all the evidence that you're awesome, how are you supposed to believe you're awesome? And then how are you supposed to believe you're going to do the thing? I don't know. In lifting, it's a real big deal. Just as a quick example, if you're doing limit deadlifts, like your 1RM or your 3RM for 3 reps or 4 reps for the first time ever, if you don't fully believe that bar is moving when you put your whole goddamn body into it, it's not moving at all. There's this thing with max deadlifts or heavy deadlifts that just trying hard makes the bar literally not budge. Trying ultra hard doesn't make it budge. At some level, you have to fully believe it is 100% coming up because you will not be denied, because you're the kind of person that when you touch weights, they scry and cream and cream.
Scry and cream.
I've seen actually a few. I'm in Scott's private folder on his laptop again. The weights buckle in fear of me. How do I know that? Because I lift them shits all the time. You have to believe in yourself. Does that mean there's a 100% chance of success? No. But people who believe in themselves have a higher chance of success than people that don't, because people that don't believe in themselves are restricting their full power to save it for when they'll really need it. Because this time they don't believe it's going to happen, so the body automatically restricts. You have to be free and unrestricted in your best efforts. And if you get a setback and you don't do so well, you go, yeah, okay, I lost this one, but man, every time I touch the bar, pretty much it does what I want. And this time it didn't, but fuck that. Next time it will. That's a big deal. But if you get too much into your own head and you don't ever savor your wins, you start to believe you're not the kind of person that can make it happen when the moment counts. You don't want to be that person because that person usually doesn't make it happen. Never cutting yourself slack breeds perfectionism and a massive risk of quitting. You don't want any of that. A real trippy thing, by the way, statistically, you can look at this. The Japanese gymnastics team, this is a trippy example, is an interesting thing where they're ranked ultra high all the time, and they continually flub at the highest levels of performance. And I'll just be straight up. A lot of times, Asian cultures and Asian people have a huge problem with savoring wins. And that means even for how capable they are in many endeavors, they doubt themselves. And in gymnastics, if you're not free and open to the world, you're going to make a mistake. When the pressure is high, you feel the worst because you've never cut yourself slack and made yourself believe in the fact that you are capable. Because in many Asian cultures, believing that you're capable is considered kind of a sin. You're not supposed to do it. The Asians have many incredible lessons for all the other races of us to learn. Dedication, grind, perseverance, off the charts. Civility, etc. Wild, just massive, huge wins. But on self-confidence, major, major deficits. And it does not have to be like that. Not for Asians. If you're Asian, not for you. And if you're anything else, not for you as well. That never cut myself slack thing is short-sighted and it makes you fragile. So here's my impetus to you. Go hard. Do well. Take time to swim in the sea of success and victory and feeling damn good about yourself to the core. And repeat the process. Might be my summary of how life works, maybe. I'm working on it, just like we're all working on it. And a part of me working on it is doing a lot of sitting with my thoughts, navigating, labeling some thoughts as thoughts that are pretty negative and letting them kind of disappear into the ether, labeling other thoughts as this is a thought that's pretty good and I'm going to encourage myself to continue to work in this frame to make thoughts like that more likely to show up. And the way that you can wildly enhance your ability to introspect and re-architect your mind slowly over time to be a more effective winning machine is through the Waking Up app by Mr. Sam Harris. I would check it out. There's a link in the description. I've been Dr. Mike. You guys are awesome. Do hard work. Savor your wins. I give you permission and encourage you to feel damn good about yourself when you do awesome things. Maybe someday I'll give myself that permission as well. But not Scott. Scott, you son of a bitch. You'll never do anything good. Work harder.
Thank you.
I'll see you next time.